Hey everybody, Alex Kazor, SteelersDepot.com, back for another Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. And I want to talk about the Steelers' run defense. It was obviously battle tested and came out the clear victor in Sunday's win over the Cleveland Browns, basically shutting down that Browns rushing attack, Kareem Hunt and company. The Browns were the NFL's #1 rushing offense coming into that game, and Cleveland could do nothing against the Pittsburgh Steelers front. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think one secret and hidden reason behind that is the Pittsburgh Steelers over front, and that's what we will be talking about today. Before we get into the tape today, I want to show you guys what the over front is. And the over front is basically the defensive line shifted to the strength of the formation. So in this example, and we'll see this on all these plays today, is instead of having a traditional kind of even set where you have a 5-tech or a 4-eye lined up here, a traditional nose tackle, either shaded or head up on the center, and then another defensive end, 4-tech, 4-eye, 5-tech in the older days, the Aaron Smith days, aligned outside the tackle. You're going to be shifted over to the strength of the formation. So here, Tyson Alualu is going to be aligned tilted, that old kind of Joe Green tilted nose as a 1-tech in the A-gap to the weak side. This is the strength of the formation. This is where the tight end is at. He left Stephon Tuitt, move to the 3-tech, and Cam Hayward basically becomes your force edge defender right here against the tight end. And that's the critical element of this play. Pittsburgh is basically setting the front to the strength of the formation, and that creates this matchup with a defensive end, often Cam Hayward, on a tight end, which is a clear mismatch regardless of which tight end you want to put out there. And so I've talked about this over front before in some other videos. I know I've talked about the run defense quite a bit, but this has been such an effective personnel grouping and scheme for Pittsburgh. And before we get into the tape, I want to go through the numbers of how effective this has been. So we'll match the stats with the tape. Pittsburgh on Sunday ran their over front 5 times. 4 of those were runs, 1 was a pass. Those 4 runs amounted to 1 yard total for the Browns offense. 0 of those runs were successful, as you may imagine, and the 1 pass resulted in a sack, a loss of 7 yards. So total, Pittsburgh ran their over front 5 times against Cleveland. Those plays resulted in a loss of -6 yards, and no plays were successful. And for the season, Pittsburgh has run their over front 16 total times. 9 of those have been runs, and the stats you see on screen right now, of those 9 runs, they have gone for a combined -1 yards with 1 touchdown. That was Miles Sanders against the Eagles back in week number 5. 4 of those plays have resulted in a tackle for loss, and only 1, again the Sanders touchdown, was successful. So offenses are having a 11% success rate against the Pittsburgh Steelers overfront. It is small sample size, but it is the most dominant personnel grouping and formation and schematic wrinkle I think there is in football right now. Okay, I know that was a lot. I know it's usually a shorter intro to get into the tape, so thank you for being patient with that. I wanted to explain that and then go with the numbers, and then we'll get into the tape right now. So first play is early first quarter, Cleveland's first drive. Again, the over front, as I just showed you guys, Hayward set to the strength on the tight end, Alualu, the 1-tech, the nose tackle here, and Stephon Tuitt, the 3-tech. And because Hayward is setting the edge here, you're going to have an off-ball linebacker. So TJ Watt most often becomes the off-ball linebacker, but Dupree still force on the weak side of the play. So let's run this thing through finally. And Kareem Hunt's going to get this ball in this I formation behind the fullback Janovich. And Hayward again, and this is going to be the common theme here, is always on this tight end, and it is always, as again you can imagine, a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just running back the tight end Austin Hooper, getting in the backfield, Tuitt, Vince, Tyson all do a good enough job to kind of collapse things up front. But because you're setting the strength to the formation, you're basically forcing this matchup on the tight end, and Hayward on the tight end is just no matchup at all. He's able to walk Hooper back, shed the block, make the tackle, and the play goes basically nowhere. So one last look at it, and then we'll move on to the next play. This is the only pass Cleveland attempted against the overfront. Again, shifted to the strength of the formation to the tight end side. This overfront comes into play against two back sets, so with a fullback or with multiple tight ends. This is when the Steelers tend to employ it. And so Isaiah Buggs this time set to the front. It's going to be play action by Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, a 2-man route. and you get pressure from Tuitt and eventually Devin Bush, who's on these hug blitzes. If the back stays in this case fullback Andy Janovich, then Bush is going to blitz and attack the quarterback, and that creates the pressure, creates the sack, and downfield there's good coverage, which I'll show you guys here in a second, where there's really nowhere for Baker to go with. And if you want to throw this deep ball, potentially this post to Odell Beckham Jr., you got to be able to protect it. You got to give your quarterback time, something Cleveland could not do Sunday. So this is this Yankee concept, this post and over route. It's a zombie call, or if Fitzpatrick's going to cut the crosser, the over route, Nelson's going to replace as the free safety. Cornerback has outside leverage here. Again, potentially a shot for the post here, but because that pressure gets home, Baker's got no chance to really reel back and throw it, and Tuitt and Bush get credit for the half sack on this play. And you got TJ Watt, as you'll see in the end zone angle here in a moment, shooting that gap, very common for the off-ball linebacker, whichever outside linebacker is not playing on the edge in that play, Dupree or Watt, most commonly TJ Watt. He's going to shoot the gap and be aggressive, and you see that here again. The front shifted over to the strength. Watt's going to shoot the gap. You get pressure. You get the sack. You make the play. Pick it up here, second half. Again, this is a run. The rest of these clips will be runs by the Browns. And again, the over front, Hayward on the tight end. It is again Austin Hooper, and that is just a matchup that Hayward, any defensive lineman is going to win, but especially Hayward, one of the strongest linemen I've ever watched, to be honest with you, on the tight end. Going to walk Hooper back, shed the block. Tuitt does a good job to hold the point of attack. Same with Spillane. Again, you're getting the over front shifted to the strength. Here's the strength. You got the two tight end set right here. Watt's now off ball. He's going to shoot this gap. And you get Tuitt taking on this double team as Hubbard climbs, activates Tuitt, gets him singled up. He's able to defeat the block. Spillane holds the point of attack well, but again, Cam Hayward, that is the key to this play. This is the best benefit of this overfront, is you get the defensive end, normally Hayward, on a tight end, and that is just a matchup the dude's going to win every single time. So one last look at it. You see the theme here. This is just a really sound, butt-whooping Pittsburgh put on Cleveland. Browns were 0 for 3 on fourth down of their two runs. This one included Pittsburgh, you guessed it, used their over front. And again, you're getting the same idea. Now, this is a little less pronounced as before. Tuitt, not getting the tilt nose and things like that. But again, Hayward on the tight end. Watt's going to be off ball instead. Again, 4th and 1, tough spot for the defense to be in. But you're just going to penetrate. You're going to shoot this gap, try to create just a big pile up at the line of scrimmage and hope that the running back gets tripped up, and that's what happens here. You get Watt being in that A-gap, holding the point of attack. Hayward, they're going to try to double team this time with the tight ends. I think that's Njoku, and I believe either Austin Hooper or John Carlson on Hayward, but again, that is just not going to be effective. Hayward's able to hold the point of attack, split the double team, help make the tackle, and then you got talk about team run defense, literally 11 guys coming in to finish this play. Edmonds, Vince, Minka diving on top of the pile at the end, and you get the stop. So holding the point of attack, again, this is the matchup you're taking advantage of. Hayward on these tight ends, and if the offense wants to run to the strength of the formation, as most offenses do, then they're going to pay the price. Want to take a quick look from the aerial view, less about the schematics of it, so you can see the different perspective, but just watch, again, the pile, everyone jumping in, and then the energy this team has. I mean, you got to really love this stuff to play, solid run defense. It's not fun. It's gritty. It's a dirty work. A lot of this does not show up on a box score, but just look at the energy from some of these guys. Spillane, Vince, Tuitt, just going crazy right here. You got to love that, Vince, as well, getting excited. So there's just a lot of energy. Each guy seems to feed off each other, and they take a lot of pride in this stuff. And so the energy, the tempo here, it's really fun to watch, and this group as a collective is just really impressive. Last clip, the other failed fourth down conversion on the ground that Cleveland had. And again, this is, let me just back it up actually. Let me get to the score here. It's 38-7. This game is over. O-V-E-R, over. There's 6.5 minutes left. It's easy to kind of take your foot off the gas and sit there and say, this game's over. We've won. We've done our job today. We've been spectacular. We blew out Cleveland. Let's just get ready to go home. But not this unit. Again, another stop on fourth down. Again, it's the same technique, strength, physicality at the line of scrimmage. And again, it is the overfront. Cam Hayward, a line on a tight end. You can probably guess what's going to happen right now. They're going to try to disguise this with some motion, but to no avail, and they're going to pull the left guard, Joel Petonio, to try to get an extra number for their advantage. But again, it just does not work, and it's all beginning with Hayward winning the point of attack. If this team wants to run to the strength, that means you're going to have to run into Cam Hayward on a tight end. And here's Carlson on Hayward, which is not a matchup at all. Hayward wins the point of attack, sheds him easily. Now the puller, Batonio, has to try to deal with it. Vince Williams backdoors it, gets behind the puller as well. And there's just no running room there for Dearness Johnson. And again, team run defense, so many hats getting to the football. And so again, watch Hayward on the front side here. And then watch Vince keying the puller, and instead of trying to go over the top to him, he's going to kind of backdoor it and get through this gap that's going to be left by where the down blocks are at. So Vince is going to read, basically come off the hip of the down block here by 78, get behind the puller, spill this run to the outside, spill this run to, guess who, Cam Hayward, who's on the tight end, and that's a win matchup. And then you got everyone else coming in, Vince coming in, TJ, Spillane, and again, just look at how many hats are rallying to the football by the end of this play. I mean, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got more. The whole convoy's there. I mean, too many to count. Basically, just the whole run defense, the whole defense is coming in to help make this play. And again, it's 38-7, 6.5 minutes left. This game is over, and they're still playing just as hard as if it was scoreless or it was a tie game late in the fourth quarter. So aerial view here, again, Hayward on Carlson, an easy matchup. The puller's now just basically in no man's land. He doesn't know what to do. Hayward just running himself into the puller, throwing himself in, and Vince able to make the tackle, and there's Bud and TJ and the rest of the group. So really effective scheme. It's not going to be used a whole lot. Again, it's used against a fullback. It's used against multiple tight end sets, but they will be facing some very heavier run-oriented offenses, especially in Tennessee this Sunday, and so I expect this to be employed again. And basically, to make a long story short, if an offense wants to run to the strengths, they're going to have to run at Cam Hayward. If they want to run away from Cam Hayward, they're going to have to run to the weak side of the formation, and that's not something offenses generally like to do. But I think if you're a team watching this, you got to sit there and say, if they come out and they overfront, and they have Cam Hayward on our tight end, we got to run weak side. And there's a number issue there, obviously, as well, so there's challenges to doing that. But if you're going to run to the strong side against Cam Hayward on a tight end, you are not going to have any success. And as the numbers I showed you earlier, 9 runs, -1 yards, 11% successful run rate for the season with the Steelers over front against the run. I think that kind of proves that no offense is having success against this group. So I wanted to bring that to you guys today. I thought a really cool wrinkle, something they've added for a couple of years now, but have expanded and really made effective over the past couple of seasons, and definitely throughout 2020. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you soon.